Hello, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to the channel. In this video, we will talk about the speech act theory, which is one of the main theories in linguistics and specifically in pragmatics, and all the terms related to this theory. We will start from what is speech act, and then the speech act theory, the locutionary act, illocutionary act, and the perlocutionary act, and then the types of illocutionary act, and in the end towards the conclusion. So let's discuss what is speech act. In the background, first of all, we know that in a communication we produce utterances. Utterances in linguistics refers to the words or sentences that we say in a communication. So all the utterances we produce have some deeper impact, ranging from providing some information to driving for action. It means that whatever we say is not just a mere activity, but we have a deeper meaning behind what we say. So, as a result of our utterances, some action is performed, and which is known as speech act. Actions like commanding, questioning, informing, ordering. Let's take an example. If you say, I'll be there at 6, you are not just uttering a sentence. You seem to be performing a speech act of promising. You promise someone that I'll be there at 6. So we can define speech act as the action performed as a result of the utterances. Now coming towards speech act theory. This theory was originally proposed by J. L. Austin in 1962 and was further expanded and explained by John Searle in 1969. They both explored how language is used not just to convey information but also to perform actions like promising, ordering, requesting, and also focusing on the speaker's intention and the effect on the listener. From this statement, we imply that language contains meaning beyond just the definition of the words that are used. It means that in a conversation, when we utter words and sentences, first of all, they have a literal meaning, and secondly, they have a deeper meaning too. The speech act theory considers language as a sort of action rather than medium to convey and express. As we know that through language we convey information and knowledge and all these things, but the speech act theory considers it not in these terms, but it considers it as a driving force behind an action. Like we make requests, we ask questions, we give orders, make promises, offer apologies, all through this with our utterances, with the use of language, with the use of words. So this is speech act theory. Furthermore, Austin and Searle established that whenever we utter something, three simultaneous acts are performed. First one is locutionary, then illocutionary, then perlocutionary act. So, what is locutionary act? It refers to the act of uttering words having its literal meanings. The locutionary act refers to the concrete form of language that we utter having its original meaning. It means that all the acts of saying or writing something belong to the locutionary act. Illocutionary acts as the speaker's intended purpose behind the utterance, such as performing or requesting something. So, when we utter words and sentences, there is always an intended meaning or intention behind the utterance. This intention is called illocutionary act. And remember that it is speakers specific. For example, if I'm uttering something, I will have an illocutionary act in my mind. Perlocutionary act. The effect the utterance produce in part of the listener. Perlocutionary act. The effect the utterance has on the listener, like persuasive effect, performance of an utterance, and promises, and all these things. Perlocutionary is the effect that the utterance produce in part of the listener. So it becomes listeners specific, not speakers. For example, the locutionary act describes a dangerous situation, and the illocutionary act acts as a force of warning, and the perlocutionary act frightens the addressee. For example, the statement, there is a fire in the building. The concrete form of this statement is locutionary act. And the dangerous situation that it describes is the illocutionary act, and is in effect, it frightens the listener and warns him not to go there to the building. So this frightening and this warning is the perlocutionary act. Now, coming towards the types of illocutionary act, as we have explained that illocutionary acts act as speakers specific. So, what the speaker want the other to do for him is through the use of his language. So, what can be the purposes of the speaker from using language or uttering something? The first one is assertive. The assertive point that they represent how things are in the words. It means the speech act in which the speaker describes something. In assertive type, the speaker does not direct other, does not promise, does not express something, but just to convey information or to describe something. For example, this is a beautiful place. If a speaker say this sentence, he does not mean that go to it, or something like that, but he is just explaining that, oh, this is a beautiful place. Second is the directive. The directive point when they make an attempt to get hearer to do something. In the first one, we explained in assertive that it just describes something, but in directive, the speaker will want something from the hearer. When the speaker want listener to do something for him, for example, the orders request. If a speaker says to another that bring me a glass of water, so he want the listener to go and come with a glass of water. So this is directive. Expressive uh, statements that express a speaker's feelings, like apologizing or thanking. It is simple that if a speaker apologizes to a listener or to thank him for something, so it comes in the category of expressives. For example, if the speaker says, I'm not feeling well, or says that I'm very happy, so it does not direct the other to do something. It just expresses the inner feelings of the speaker. The fourth one is commissive. Statements that commit the speaker to future actions, like promising and guaranteeing. Sometimes we promise for something to in front of the listeners. For example, that if I say to another person that I'll come tomorrow, so I promise him that what I'll do, I'll come tomorrow. So this comes in the category of commissives. Declaratives. The speaker changes or alters circumstances, like orders. Here, remember that in directives, we have also pointed out orders and directives, and here in declaratives, we are again saying that orders come in the category of directives, but there is a difference between that directive order and declarative order. In declarative, the listener has no choice to turn down the order. For example, if a boss say to an employee that get out of the room or get out of the office, so the employee has no choice to turn down the order of the boss. So it comes in the category of declaratives. While in directives, the listener do have a choice to turn down the request. So it's all about the types of illocutionary acts. Now, coming toward the conclusion, we can simply say this whole conversation in just a few sentences. First of all, we have described speech acts. So, from speech act, we mean that we utter words and sentences in communication which have not just literal meaning, but it shows our intention of performing some action through our utterances. So it becomes, the actions become the speech acts. And then the speech act theory that John Searle and Austin give it a concrete shape of theory, which is termed as speech act theory. And then the locutionary act, illocutionary act, perlocutionary act, and types of illocutionary act. And this all about the speech act theory and all the terms associated with it. Thank you. If you like this, kindly like the video and mention your queries in comments. Thank you so much.